This is Eagle Al, and today we're going to talk about the Eagles not taking inferior competition serious. Also, Slay spoke on expectations and why was so much pressure on the Eagles. Lastly, we're going to talk about Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat, or we just spoil fans. But let's get straight into it. All right, so let's get straight into it, man. Let's talk about inferior competition. Eagles are 6-2. Believe it or not, they are 6-2 against winning teams. The two teams we lost to that are winning teams are the Cowboys and the 49ers. We beat the Dolphins. We beat the Bucks. We beat the Cowboys once. We beat the Chiefs, the Bills. Like, we beat some tough competition. But our problem, honestly, this year has been against inferior competition. And I was looking that up. I'm like, why are we playing down to competition a lot? Think about it, right? We go on a win streak, and also that other winning team is the Rams. We go on the win streak and we lose to the Jets. And it felt like we didn't take that game serious. We almost sat everybody. We sat Jalen Carter, Slay, a couple guys, and we thought we could just pull off and win. Jets took that game as the Super Bowl, and they gave us our first loss. Okay, we go through the gauntlet. We like, man, if we could lead a gauntlet with like 3 or 4 wins, that's a dub. So we beat the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Bills, and the Chiefs, and something happened that 49ers blew us out, and then the Cowboys blew us out. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. But we got the easier schedule down the road. But we only beat the Giants, but we lose to the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Seahawks. But Dallas Goddard actually spoke on this a little bit because everybody wanted him to clear up his comments. Like, yo, what did you mean by we was in the playoffs and the team took a step back, or what was going on, or they just didn't care down the stretch. But this is what Dallas Goddard had to say.
What you said after the game, because I think some people have taken that as like, were you guys really mentally into this the last few weeks because it wasn't yet the playoffs? What did you mean when you talked after the game?
We always say we never look ahead in the schedule, and we want to take it day by day, and that's exactly what we want to do. But we had that hard stretch in the middle of the season, and whether it was outside noise or you look at the schedule before the season and notice what looks like easy games at the end of the season, games that, we expected to win without doing anything. So we lost a couple of games in the hard stretch, and, we're like, it's okay. We'll win the games at the end of the year. The 3 games at the end of the year that seem really winnable. And, we might have overlooked it. We might have just coasted, expected our talent to win games when that wasn't the.
You see, that's strange coming from a player. Of course, me as a fan, I can say that, but coming from a player, it sounds wild, but it might be true. Eagles probably went into the 49ers game like, you know what? We're a couple games up. Really doesn't matter. We're not going to take this game too serious. We probably don't want to give too much away. Got our heads blown off. Well, we beat the Cowboys already. We got this easy stretch of games coming up. So if we win out these easy stretch of games, we good. Got our heads blown off. Now the Seahawks, they didn't come to play. We lost that game. We beat the Giants. And we was like, well, we got the Cardinals and the Giants last. We should be able to win, at least win the division. And it backfired on us. We did not take those quote unquote easier teams serious. And those easier teams are still NFL teams. Those are not high school teams. Now, I'm pretty pissed at the Eagles, hearing it from Dallas Goddard, did not take those games serious. Of course, again, me as a fan watching, like, yeah, the Cardinals record is this. They got one of the worst defense. All you got to do is slow down Kyler Murray. You should be fine. Couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop Tyrod Taylor because the Eagles did not take those games serious, in my opinion. But if they don't take the Bucs serious going into Tampa, we're gonna lose. But to me, this goes to Nick Sirianni. Every game should be taken serious. Of course, they're gonna say that at the podium, but when you watch those inferior teams, you could tell we did not take them serious. And even the last two games we lost to winning teams, we were looking ahead. Like, well, Cardinals, this and that. We should be able to still at least. Well, at that time, we should have just won the NFC in general. We didn't take those games serious, man. And I'm happy Dallas Goddard low key don't realize he's giving it up. Like he's speaking his truth. Like, well, we looked ahead. Like he like, well, we shouldn't look ahead, but they did. And what happened is the Cardinals took the Eagles as their Super Bowl, Giants took the Eagles as their Super Bowl, and even the Seahawks. Every team gave us their best. And I want to go to this word expectations. Why do I want to go to this word? Because I was watching Slay podcast. First of all, Slay spoke about his knee, and this is what he had to say. The knee is feeling good. Did a lot of drills this week. I'm saying I'm feeling good. Get it in the rotation. It's go time now. It's playoff time now. It's playoff football, and best believe I will be out there. So Slay, just a little injury update. He will play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let's be honest, without Slay, well, we won one game, we won it 4. So safe to say, Slay has been a good, addition to the team. A lot of people want him going. What they say, the old saying, they never know until it's gone. Like you never know how much you miss a person until they're gone. And he was going for a couple games. We're like, you know what? Maybe we do miss Slay out there. Maybe we shouldn't just give up on them like that. So shout out to Slay. But Slay spoke on expectations and going into the season with expectation and how it somewhat hindered the team. But let me go ahead and play this clip.
Career. I'm not lying because the fact that I never been put in a situation for a team to have so much high expectations, like not for myself as a team, because we all, as every team in the league, they all expect to go to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. But the expectations from like media, not fans, because fans think the same thing, from the media, as in like, hey, the first simple thing is Eagles going back to the Super Bowl. Eagles gonna be this good. Eagles be that good. Da-da-da. And now the fact that, what I'm saying, I'm like, so it made everyone that we came to play bring their best game. I'm talking about all the tricks out the blood. Like they go away from what they do originally just to beat us sometimes.
As I mentioned, when Dallas Goddard was speaking, these teams are going to give it your best. Like the Jets are going to play their best against the Eagles because they feel like that game could give them a spark. Like even the Giants, that last game, they're going to play their best because maybe that give them a spark into next season. Seahawks was fighting for a playoff position. They didn't take them serious. They gave us our best because A, we were NFC champions, and B, give them a high chance of, going to the playoffs. And then the Cardinals just needed a spark going into the following season. And these teams are going to look like, well, we did beat the Eagles, who is a top-notch team. Let's take this momentum or try to take this momentum into next season and see what we got. So, yeah, the expectations honestly hurt the Eagles. You got to think, man. Sometimes I love the dog mentality. I love it. But I'm going to criticize it just a little bit. And the reason why I'm criticizing it just a little bit is because sometimes we the overdogs and we got to show we the overdogs. We got to show it because we got to show that we're better than like the Jets and all these other teams because we're going to get all these teams best because they believe we are the best. Starting back from like 2016, 2017, we was always underdogs. Even when we won the Super Bowl, underdogs. That following year, we became underdogs. Even our Super Bowl year, you gotta think of that off season. What happened that off season when we got AJ Brown, this and that? They was comparing Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown to Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, like that best friend stuff ain't gonna work, this and that. And we went all the way to the Super Bowl and AJ Brown broke records. So people was looking like, yo, that team, especially that offense, is still staying intact. And then we didn't make too many changes on the offensive side. We just elevated the QB coach to OC. Everybody just got elevated on the offensive side of the coaching staff. So we came in with the expectation like everything should damn near be the same. Next thing you know, we getting everybody best because we are the overdogs, not the underdogs. Now we're the underdogs, but sometimes we gotta embrace that overdog. Like, yeah, we the big dogs, we gonna stomp you out. So what? You can't just be the underdog every single time. But hey, we're the underdogs now, so hopefully that dog mentality worked. All right. So lastly, I want to talk about Nick Sirianni. There's reports out there. I guess by Tim McMahon is stating that Nick Sirianni is basically on the hot seat, but he used the words feel. A lot of people taking it and running with it because he's saying he feel like Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat, and I wouldn't be surprised. You got to think of the coaches that are out there, like Rabel, Pete Carroll got fired. Like, it's some really good coaches out there. Even Bill Belichick. Even though I don't want Bill Belichick, to be honest, unless he's willing to coordinate, like defensive coordinate, but I don't want him being the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles at all. So again, there's a lot of good coaches out there. Then there's other reports coming out stating that there's some teams in the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure the Eagles are one of those teams. Like, they got a coach intact, but they seeing all these other coaches get, out their contract, getting fired, this and that. Maybe some of these guys are willing to move on from their playoff coach and getting one of these new coaches because
he's not going to Ohio State.
Really?
He's either going to have his pick here at one of these jobs or choose to take a year off. I can tell you, Stu.
Yes.
There are teams out there that have a coach in place.
Right.
They've already told everybody, like, this is our guy, and maybe some of these teams are still playing, maybe they're not, who had conversations yesterday after Mike Vrabel was fired about moving on from their current head coach.
Wow. I mean, he's going
I think Harbaugh, he's going to be a hot catch, man. If somebody could snag him, he could turn the whole organization around and get them to the Super Bowl. We got to think what he did with that 49ers team and Colin Kaepernick and those dudes was incredible. So Mike Vrabel, we already know, again, his intensity, how good he is. He was just a victim of a very bad ownership. Pete Carroll still got it. You know what he do with less talented teams or even talented teams in general. You can take them to the Super Bowl. He got Geno Smith looking like, average or above average quarterback. Pete Carroll out there. It's some coaches out there, man. I'm telling you. Like, if Nick Sirianni don't get it together, man, somebody will want that Eagles job with that talent. But also Adam Schefter says something too, and they go back to the word expectations. Because the expectations were so high and then going 11-6 after a Super Bowl year, it feel like the Eagles fans are spoiled. I'm just summing up what he said. Feel like we're spoiled because we had high expectations going into the season. Losing that 5 of the last 6 games sucks, but going into a Super Bowl season, going 11-6 and in the playoffs is somewhat successful, but we know how the Eagles are. Now, my personal opinion, I don't think he should get fired. Sometimes I have my moments, but that's me being emotional, but I'm being logical right now. I don't think he should get fired. Nick Sirianni is a product of good coordinators. Like, he need good coordinators around him. But also the Eagles got to pay that bag for a good coordinator. They have to. Like, we lucked up getting Shane Steichen. People say Jonathan Gannon, but I'm sorry, the Cardinals is still ranked like 32nd worst defense. But you need a good coordinator on the defensive side and offensive side. But the defensive side, you gotta let that guy call his scheme. Offensive side, you gotta let that guy call his scheme. I like how Nick Sirianni talked to the players, this and that. That's what head coaches do. But he gotta let the offensive guy run the offense and let the defensive guy run the defense. Just simple as that. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? About, I guess the word is expectations, right? I used it a lot because I feel like that's what kind of hindered our season and gave us like a spoiled ending. It could have been a great season, but the word expectations, losing to inferior talent, somewhat ruined the season. But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm up.